What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another Echocalypse video. All right, guys, we're going to talk about something I think that needs to be addressed by developers, and the frustration of the gamers need to be kind of brought out here. I personally love this game. Not gonna lie to you guys. Echocalypse is one of those games that I spend a couple times a day on. Whether it's doing my dailies, PvP, being part of the Sentinel battles or whatever my alliance needs or my syndicate needs. I'm always a part of it, and I'm trying my best to keep up. Unfortunately, though, there's a couple problems with this game, and I think it needs to be addressed. And I'm, as a content creator, I think it's kind of my job to talk about this, because these are things that could either make or break a game. Now, I've talked about this in the past about whales quitting, right? Because if you guys watch the video, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people have quit the game. The honeymoon phase is in fact over, and nothing really has changed from a perspective to keep players in. Now, this is a very normal part of gacha life, right? Where a game comes out, has a lot of cool waifus, has a lot of it's brand new, it's like the shiny new toy, and everybody wants to be a part of it. The problem here with this game is it hasn't really evolved in any way, shape, or form. And instead of kind of listening to the community, it's kind of done the opposite, where it's just kind of maintained the course. Now, I'm all for games bringing out content. Let's talk about the certain problems here, right? One of the biggest complaints I hear is this game takes too much time, which it absolutely does. There are so many different modes. Now, normally that's not a complaint you'd hear from a lot of gamers, where they're like, you know what, there's too much content. There is such a thing as too much content, unfortunately, with mobile gaming. Now, when it comes down to like MMOs, console games, PC games, too much content really, really doesn't exist to that same extent, because you're not really forced to log in daily. You're not really forced to compete quite as much as you are in a mobile capacity. Now, in mobile games, too much content is a real thing, because most people play mobile games for one reason, and that is because they lack the time to play console games. It's a time crunch for them to enjoy a short burst of gaming, and then they're gone. So the sheer amount of constant release of content is causing a lot of players to either be turned off or just not be able to keep up, which in turn in mobile gaming, because of the competitive nature that it is, makes people quit, which is unfortunate, because this game has so many redeeming qualities to it that I love. But I totally empathize and sympathize with people who have this problem, because I am also one of those people. If I wasn't a content creator, I think my abilities to keep up with this game would also be very difficult, to be quite frank with you guys. So I totally get where people are coming from when they say this is just way too much, too fast, and it's completely understandable. Now, with that being said, the next part that also needs to be addressed, of course, is going to be, let's try this boss out, the release of banners. Man, oh man, is this ever a problem? So I understand the concept of, needing to bring out banners to make money. I get that. What did I just fight? Did I fight at 15,000? I didn't even realize the power difference here. Sorry, guys. Talking while doing this is usually not the best. I just fought a 15,000 enemy, and I'm like, why did I just lose? I thought it was 1,500. When you're fighting, sorry, when you're trying to be free to play, for example, and if you guys understand the structure of gachas, whales will play as long as there is a game to play. Okay, and majority of the time, free-to-play players are the lifeblood of a game. They're the majority of the population, right? And whales are, they're kind of pushed into the game to spend money in order to dominate and destroy those free-to-play. And then eventually they fight whales to dolphins and then whales to whales. The problem is, if your free-to-play players can't keep up and they're quitting the game, your whales are also going to quit the game, because they have no competition or anyone playing the game besides bots, and nobody wants to play with bots, right? And I can tell you this is a problem in itself, and this is a prime example. So our Alliance Eden, it was number one, right, for a long time. I mean, still is number one on this server easily. But I've noticed something, that every few days now we are struggling to keep up with the where is it here? Hold on. With the business center. Like, I have not seen 320 in a very long time. As a matter of fact, if you go to my friends list, which I update pretty often, to be honest with you guys, I've stopped updating in the last few days, or maybe in a few weeks, but you guys can see, after roughly about halfway there, look how many people stop coming online. Look at that. That's a huge list. Like someone here, I left it here just to show you guys. 11 days. Look at these. 11 days gone, and you can imagine some of these guys on 11 days, for example, were a little bit of spenders, right? Maybe not a spender, but probably free to play. But that's my point, right? It's not sustainable for whales or free to play in this game. So the constant release of banners and constant release of meta changes is too drastic. This is the most I've ever seen. I've never in my life seen 3 meta banners running at the same time. That's crazy. And I'm like talking about this one, and then we had Levi at the same time as Griff at one point. Then we have the weekly visitors. Then we have the rotating banners. Then we have the advanced banners, etc., etc., etc. Right? It gets crazy too fast. Like you guys are going way too fast, devs. Again, I understand. I'm at 70 out of 75. I'm about to get my next results here to get my next claim to get a link. But it's like one of those things where you have to kind of stand back and look at the bigger picture. Like if you're the devs and for example, C is a dead. See the servers are all dead because of this exact problem, because all the whales are quitting, all the free to play players can't keep up. You gotta take a different approach with global. You can't just expect everyone to keep up the same way with C, and then you're gonna get the same results. As a matter of fact, you have to understand with global, it's even crazier because global players are more finicky. They're a lot more frugal. They're a lot more critical of their games, and we are. Because let's be real, global gets the shaft every time in every release. It's a fact. Like when you see a C release, a Japanese release, a Chinese release, when it comes to global, we get it the worst usually. And this is probably 99% of the time true. I'd say a couple exceptions are there. So like don't copy and paste the same business model when it isn't working everywhere else. You know what I mean? Like so this is I think another big issue as well too. And then lastly, not only are the banners coming out too fast, but you're also putting a strain on your free-to-play players by not giving us enough resources, right? Like there really isn't enough resources. And I say this wholeheartedly because in the beginning, when my syndicate was spending and all the whales were spending their monies on this game, and we were getting a lot of those syndicate tickets, it was much easier to keep up. But that wasn't really the game providing us anything. That was our own players funding our free-to-play players. Now that's kind of slowed down quite a bit. I'm talking about like once every few days do we ever get a ticket now on someone who wants to spend or a new banner, right? It's a lot more difficult now to accumulate any form of Eerie. So I've been saving all of these stages for this reason exactly, because I knew this was going to happen. So I've been going back now and clearing all my stages at 3 chests and just collecting all of my Eerie's. But after that, it's really difficult. And not only that, but everything else that's resource related sits behind a massive time sink, right? Whether it's the Sentinel, whether it's the Shadow, the most recent one we had, the Cosmos one. If it's not that, then it's the Towers one. I mean, there's so many different modes that take up hours of your time to play, and every little bit of resources behind that. And again, that's a big problem in itself. So I really hope the devs really think about this, because I don't think it's going to slow down. For those who are playing this game, I think the banners are going to continue coming at this pace. So if you are already not able to keep up and it's bothering you, I don't think that's going to change. So I'm not even going to pretend that's something that's going to happen. But I do implore the devs to think a little bit more about maybe adding better skip buttons, but maybe making battles a little more efficient. Even the Abyss, I haven't bothered traversing through that for a while because I'm like, I don't really care enough to, because it just takes way too much time. Even with quick battle, when you do 3 battles at a time, it still takes way too much of your time with everything else that's going on. Not to mention some of these battles, such as like the events where you have to fight the boss 3 times in a row for the event. Like, put a skip button there. Like, you should be able to calculate that with the skip button, just like you do with purifications. Also, like another one that's big too is like some of these stages here where there's bosses. Skip it. Let us just skip. There's really no harm in it because you have so much already compact into one game. The skip button should be almost like a necessity for every battle. Doesn't matter if it's a boss or not. Doesn't matter if it's an event. It should be one of those things that we can do all the time. Also, the last thing I want to talk about is this whole limited banner. If you don't pull the unit, they're gone forever, and you have to wait for the banner to come back again without an advanced draw. That's just BS. I think once the banner is done, put them in advanced draw. even if it's once a week or twice a week you can summon for them, I don't really care. At least put them in there. It's so silly that we have to like people have to wait for Aiken, for example, who joined brand new, and they can't even summon for her because they were playing something else or just didn't know the game existed. That's one of the worst limited banner things I've seen. I've seen other games do the same thing, and I've never been a fan of it. So I'm going to continue saying that I'm not a fan of it. So yeah, devs, please like rethink that whole strategy. I think that's a big one as well. So those are my major issues with the game. I think these quality of life things need to happen. If you guys are on the same boat as me and you guys think the same way as me, let me know. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.